Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Leadership Exchange. This is where we have candid conversations with forward thinking leaders who are shaping the future of business. My name's Jason Zickerman, and I'm the president and CEO of the Alternative Board. And today we're talking about a topic that doesn't show up on the balance sheet, but it might be the most valuable asset in your entire business. It's your mindset. Today, our guest is Leanne Monaghan. Leanne's a wellness expert, a mindset coach, and an entrepreneur who spent over 2 decades helping professionals reconnect with their potential and by transforming one core driver, their self image. So today, we're going to explore the gap between what we know and what we do, and how the stories that we tell ourselves can either sabotage our success or really unlock the potential that each and every one of us has in leadership and confidence and in growth. So, Leanne, I'm super excited to have you with us today, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure. It really is. I've been looking forward to this all week. So, Leanne, when we spoke before the podcast, you shared with me that you've been in the wellness space now for over 21 years. It's more than a minute. All right. Now, you've been running a gym and then you've moved to a mindset coach for business leaders. That's a very impressive shift. Now, what's been the through line? What's been that common thread in your career that connects physical wellness as well as mental resilience as well as leadership? What is that commonality?
100% it's your self-image. I always say to people, you can never outperform your self-image. That's the
Mm.
common thread. That's the common thread to success in relationships, business, relationship with yourself. It's key. It's the cornerstone.
And so the self-image, and how have you seen that be either help or be detrimental to these folks?
If I could use an example of, I've been in the gym space. I have a boutique fitness center operating for over 21 years. And the common thread, and this is what really made me understand mindset at a deep level, Jason, was people come in and they have a set point and it's their programming, and it can be in the sales sheet too, right? As a
Mhm.
salesperson, you're set at a certain point: lose weight, gain weight. I maybe I'll be telling this story later on, but a salesman who's set at a certain number, he'll outperform it, but then he'll come down. And if that person then goes into a territory where it's hard to make sales, he will rise up to that level because that's where he's set. And what I was experiencing in working with people in their health was they would work with me and they change all the external. Okay, I'm going to drink, I'm going to work out, I'm, going to be doing all the right things, but their set point was at lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, on the wagon, off the wagon. So that
Right.
was the thread of their self-image that was controlling everything. We added in a little bit of willpower. They hired me, and then they would achieve their goals, and then bam, 6 months later, I'd see them and they'd be right back at the same set point. Same with business owners, right? Like that
Hmm.
was
For
common,
sure.
that they would be at their set point: feast, famine, scarcity, whatever that driver, that undercurrent in their self-image, that's what they're set to. They might, make a great quarter in sales, but then bam, they're right back to their set point because
That's a real common thing that happens with folks. And
mm,
and overcoming that
yeah.
can be or feel or perceived to be Herculean in effort to do that. So, as a major turning point in your journey,
Mhm.
you were realizing at one point that you needed to become the CEO of your health. I
Yes.
had that same thing 15 months ago, and it was a wake up call. And I finally said, Jason, it's time to grow up. It's time to put a little focus into this particular space. Now, that's a really powerful idea. becoming the CEO to your health, and one that I anticipate is going to resonate very significantly with our audience. So, how did that realizing that you needed to become the CEO of your health, how did that change the way that you lead yourself? And how has it shaped the way that you help others lead themselves? That'd be really interesting for me to understand.
Oh, okay. That's a great question. I love that. So for me, I always lead by example. I never engage or talk about a product or an experience until I've experienced it myself, and then I lead by example. So whenever it was the pivotal moment for me in my health, let's just say that for the first, that was the first major transition, is that
Hmm.
I was diagnosed with cancer. And I was a single mom, you know, zero money. And I had to, and I was in school for being a massage therapist. Thankfully, I was in the healing arts. So I just made a decision. And you know what, Jason? Decision is the door. Whenever you make a decision, then that's the doorway to everything else to open up.
Wow.
So I completely revamped, even though I've been in the fitness industry for over 44 years. Back in the day when we wore the G-strings on the outside of our pants, poor mom, 3, 4, I was one of those girls. I completely changed the way that I exercised, how I ate, and then I started a little bit in my mindset and started to use visualization because I was in massage therapy. Anatomy is huge. So I could visualize healthy tissue. I knew what that looked like. So now, touch wood, like 20, 21 years later, I'm still cancer free. But in that time, so this is what I want to drive home for your listeners and your business owners. So picture it like I've got cancer, I'm a single mom, and I am broke. Like I remember there was one weekend I'm thinking, how am I going to put food on the table for these kids? Right? It was, I mean, I can say that without emotion, but that was my reality. Now, I'm sitting down at my table and an idea pops into my head. And it was like this town where I live, it's called Acton. It's just outside of Toronto. Acton needs something more. And I'm going through this experience of, you know, fitness and wellness and optimal health. And I had this idea pop into my head. Now, and I thought, oh, that would be really cool. So here's the thing with your business owners, like when this idea pops into your head, I could have easily dismissed it because look at my circumstance, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of hope there, right?
No. Scary times.
Yeah, but I kept on with that idea and I just kept playing with it. Like, what would it look like? And I remember I'd serve them tea and coffee and it would be a lovely space and, you know, but I never abandoned the idea and I just kept with it. Well, anyway, I got an angel investor. I'm just going to fast forward here. And here I am 21 years later. I mean, she saw in me that
Wow.
this is what needed to be happening because she knew I walked the walk. So then now I'm in business for 20, 20 years helping people, but I knew that I was meant for more. And so I'm thinking, but I was looking through plexiglass. I didn't quite know what that was. And then the second big awakening, like what you're talking about, the wake up call, I hit perimenopause, menopause, and I was done. Like I was done with business. I was done with my, relationships. I was going to just pack up and move out west in Canada and ski and be a waitress. That's what I was thinking. But I made myself a promise, a decision that I wasn't going to react and I would give myself a year. And that's whenever I got into the mindset work and I'm thinking, oh, this is why my clients can't hold on to the business goals. This is why my clients can't hold on to the health. I didn't realize that it was a set point that was running the whole show. So I thought,
That's
what
amazing.
if I have this set point in me? So think about it. I mean, my operating was scarce and lack because obviously there was a weekend when I didn't even have, didn't know how I was going to get food for my kids. So, that program was running the show and I went bankrupt, right? So there's shame around that. And so that's running the show. How can you be a big business person if this is all that happened? So when I was able to start to unpack these programs, that, I mean, these are pretty deep. I mean, the surface ones you can get
Yeah.
easy. But when I was able to start to unpack all of that, in 1 year, I doubled my income. And
So, so
I,
this was a mindset shift for you. I
it
mean, it
was,
was this is what you're talking about. I mean, because your situation didn't change. You
no,
had the cancer. You didn't have the money. I mean, the key here was shifting that mindset, which is the single most powerful thing in what we're talking about today, right?
it is.
So you shared the gap between knowing, because people know what they can do, but sometimes they don't have the energy to do what they need to do.
Mhm.
And as you're saying, that comes down to self-image. So that's something I'm sure that many of us, and I've been in the same roller coaster seesaw as that you're talking about, that reset point. So knowing what needs to get done, but still hesitating to take action. That's the challenge. So, how does self image play into that dynamic, especially when it comes to making confident decisions, both in business and in life? And what do you do to overcome that?
Well, to me, it's a three-step process.
Hmm.
The first step, well, understanding that, you know, what you're set, that you add in a bit of willpower, but willpower only lasts for so long, and then you're going to go
Right.
to the set point. So to break through that barrier of willpower and start moving into transformation, as I call it, or the new self-image, you number one, you need to start to become aware that we all have blind spots, right? We all have, even if we go back to childhood, or there's still like little programs
Of
that are
course.
in there that are like, okay, we're running the show. And a lot of people aren't even aware of it. It just becomes like a habit, habitual way of thinking. So understanding, and or not understanding, but the awareness of where you're blocked, where you're stuck. Like, why am
Right.
I in procrastination? Why am I afraid to make that call to that person? Like, why am I afraid? Like, what's, and so that's the self-image, the glass ceiling that's holding you back.
So what signs are you seeing in
Oh,
a person's self image that might be saying that they're holding themselves back? When it comes, what are you seeing in these people?
I see procrastination. I
Hmm.
see victim mentality. I see fear. I see doubt. I see shame. I see just habits that they haven't ever, or habits, programs, paradigms, that's another word, that they have, that they are not even aware that are running the show. So that's why it's important. And I have a mentor, every mentor has a mentor, to help you with these blind spots and question, like, is it even true? Right? Like,
Yeah.
is it
Right.
true?
Where
And
did we get it? Because we all have, when I speak in front of audience, Leanne, many times I'll talk about imposter syndrome,
yes,
and I'll ask them, how many of you have ever experienced or currently experience imposter syndrome? And I will tell you that when the audience is truly being truly honest, the great, great majority of that audience raises their hand.
yeah.
So when you see those, and how do you help these folks get past those? Like what are some of the things that they're doing and that you're advising and you're helping these folks? Because, you know, I always tell people that and I've had a pretty successful career in my life, but I don't think I've ever taken a job or a change in my life that I felt qualified for.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's just always been the way it is. So, tell me how do you talk to folks about that?
Well, first of all, I really help people understand how their mind works. So mind is very different from the brain, right? Mind's what connects us to something that's bigger than ourselves, whatever word
Hmm.
lands with you. So really understanding how the mind works, because there's 5 rules on how the mind works, right? It's first you need a target because we're goal seeking, that's what we are. We're goal seeking. I want to say
Right.
organisms, but anyway, so you need to plug in that goal, number one. So then that way your GPS is set. You have to understand like failure is part of it. When you think of a
Absolutely.
torpedo, it fails its way to success, Jason, more than it's successful to be on track. Would you agree with that?
I definitely
Yeah.
would.
So it's part of the program. So whenever you're going off track, all you do is course correct. And you know what? There's so much opportunity in going through mistakes. I mean, you grow. I know I can't speak for you, but I have learned more from my mistakes really than my successes. And it's like, that's what I say. Like, you know how many ways I failed my way to success? Like a lot.
Right.
And so really understanding how the mind works, and I know that we've talked about this before, and understanding the 6 higher faculties, like the imagination, intuition, will, reason, perception, and memory. And to me, the 2 biggest business tools are imagination and intuition, right?
Okay.
You plug into a higher power, a higher energy, what your goal is. The how's not your business. The how will show
Right.
its way. And whenever you're in this relationship and you're strong with visualizing and you start to become that person, because if you have that dream, you already are that type of person, to have faith in that. And then you practice visualizing, you get that picture really strong, and then intuition then speaks back to you. Like all of a sudden I had I do a visualization on the mornings. I call it mystic morning. And I had a business lady, actually she's a tab member, and she said to me, like the intuitive hits that she got on that call, and she's like, oh my gosh, I should reach out to that person. And I always say, whenever you get these intuitive hits, when you're in this visualization, in that energy of your goal already done, she said, you said act on it even if it feels kind of
So,
weird.
so explain intuitive hit.
An intuitive hit would be like, you think of yourself, let's say by December 31st, that you've accomplished X amount of sales, you've got this.
Okay.
So you go to the end and you visualize the end, and you see who you're talking to, what your bank account looks like. Then like an idea, the universe has these ideas, like these little seeds that will plant,
Hmm.
and it says like, reach out to Jason, reach out to Todd. And whenever you're in that
Got to
zone,
listen to that.
you
You need
gotta
to
listen,
listen to the
be brave and act on it, like close that gap fast. Action is the key.
action.
Action
Yeah.
overcomes procrastination. Action gives you confidence. Action is, and then you're working with the universal laws, right? Cause and effect, action, reaction. So you're speeding up that process.
Yeah.
Action.
Fascinating. Not an easy thing to do, though, I can imagine, but it's I totally understand what you're saying here. Yeah.
And and so you know what, Jason, what I say is that, like, my zone of genius, and that's what I like to call it, is that I see in others what they don't see for themselves. Right.
Right.
That's what a good mentor is. Like you as in, and that's what your tab members are doing. Like they see in businesses what that business doesn't see for themselves, right? Like and so through this process, I help people, and I've done it for myself many times with my own mentor, is to build that image and allow that image to come up, decode all of those habits, limited thinking, the glass ceiling, and you become that person before you're even ready. So it's an inside job. Whenever you're talking about changing your self-image, it's an inside job. No one in the world around you knows.
Yeah. I met somebody who you work with, and I met this individual before, you started working with her and seen her most recently, and it's a different person. So the power that you're talking about making these shifts, I'm observing real time now in this one individual that has just been remarkable to watch. You know, let me take a different angle here. You've pointed out that poor self-image sometimes can lead to behaviors that look productive,
Mhm.
like overworking or striving for perfection, but actually it's limiting one's growth. So
Yes.
now that might be pretty surprising for people listening to the podcast because I know so many of us as business owners, that overworking thing is, for some folks becomes a badge of honor and other folks say this is the only way it needs to be. I don't know how effective or not, but how can habits like these actually get in the way of real progress or real leadership for a business owner?
I love that question. So for me, picture a fly that's trying to escape from a window, right? You can
Hmm.
banging against the window, trying harder, putting more effort into it with his wings. And he's like banging against this window, banging against his window. And he thinks that's the way he's going to achieve getting out. Meanwhile, if he just had turned his head 10 feet away, the door's open, right? And so, and
Yeah.
then you hear his wings start to die and the dreams start to die. Well, maybe I shouldn't be, doing this as a business. Maybe I'm not good enough. And, they think putting more hours in, more hustle, that's the way to achievement. I'm not saying you have to work, but it's like, what's the energy behind your working? Is it frantic, like that fly against the window? Or is it coming from a place of a self-image that is with ease, with confidence, and a faith that that image that you have in your head, that goal, that it's meant for you? And
Mm.
wouldn't that change up your day? Like, think about it. Like, just, yeah, like even I checked into my energy before I came on this call. I mean, you're a really successful businessman. I mean, I don't know how far the reach of this podcast is. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, little the old self-image of Leanne is like, oh my gosh, am I even worthy? Do I have something to talk about? And I'm like, go away. I love
Oh,
you, but
wow.
I love you, but we're done. And then I
Do you
just,
have ways that you help, like, so you're talking to yourself? Do you surround yourself with others that help you with this? What is, because it what you're saying, I think everyone will recognize. Where I think people are going to struggle is how to change that.
okay. So what I did to overcome that for myself personally before I got on this call is I meditated. And I already visualized this conversation. I mean, we had a conversation before, so I know that, you're a beautiful soul, you're easy to talk to, and so I knew that you would lead me in the right direction. And so I visualized it. I mean, I had no idea what we're going to, you know, the questions you were going to ask, but the key is how I felt. And I grounded myself in the knowledge of, you know what? I am an expert in this field. Like,
Right.
I've helped a lot of people. And I just reminded myself, and it's all like, if I can put a plug in for a book for your tab people.
Please, yeah.
Psycho Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, like, to me, this is the Bible. So I just went back and
Say it again so people could say this the name of the book. Psycho
Psycho
Cyber.
Cybernetics, Maxwell
Okay.
Maltz.
All right.
And I went back and I played past successes that made me feel wonderful. I remembered who I am at my core. I'm a spiritual being in a human body, and I'm here to help others. Like, this is service. And
Well,
when I really locked into that, it was easy.
yeah. I tell people all the time, and I do it all the time. I get nervous before I give keynotes. Certain conversations, and raising your energy and reaffirming yourself that you should be in this conversation, that you'll be good. It's absolutely works. So for anybody listening, listen to what Leanne is talking about. It's a difference maker, no doubt about that. So let's talk about confidence, okay?
Okay.
Because that's something that is hard, and some people don't naturally have it, and it just really is a big thing for some folks. So you've shared that it isn't just about feeling good. It's actually about it's something that you build through small and intentional shifts.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is important because some people think you either have it or you don't, or whatnot. But you're saying no. This is something that you actually could work on, you build on, and whatnot. One thing that really stood out to me was your advice to start with just one or two beliefs at a time.
Yes.
So, for those of us who are sitting there saying, I need to work on my confidence, what is that? What do you mean? What, can you share a habit or a mindset shift that has helped build confidence? Or especially for the clients that have been stuck or feel very kind of lost or uncertain in that space, that's a big deal. So, how does one do that? What would be one or two beliefs that you shift?
I always, so my super sauce key is always building that end result, right? Building
Hmm.
that image of you in the end result. What does your day look like? How are you feeling? How many calls are you doing a day? Like you build out that end result because we need to have a goal, right? We're goal seeking organisms. So from that picture, and you visualize it and you are that person, then whenever you land back in your body after you've had that visualization, you ask yourself, what would that version of Jason in
Hmm.
his goal, what would he think about right now? Because his thinking is going to be very different than yours. Otherwise, you'd have that goal. And so that's a huge confidence builder. For me, it is anyway. And then I know that with the clients, they get that. So it's they're asking their future self, okay, what would I do? And then you act. Act taking action is a huge confidence builder.
Yeah.
So just even if it's small, just take action and see action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. You're just working with the universal laws, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of I don't know where it came from exactly, but the be do have. Do you know what I mean by that? If
Oh,
you
I
start,
do.
yeah, right. So when you start being the person you want to do, or think about what does a successful person do, or someone do it, and you start doing that, then you have what they have ultimately over time because you started behaving. Even if you don't believe it, you start behaving like your future self, you said, or the successful person. So I
Right.
think that's great. That really is really good. You know,
Can I,
you've mentioned, yeah, go on, please continue on
sorry,
with it.
sorry, because I want to just debunk that be do have because
Okay,
that's
please.
actually okay. So I might not
I
be the
love it.
popular opinion, but I'm going to go to bat here. So in the personal development space and in the self-help world, it's like you can be, do, and have anything that you want. And I mean, Jason, I think between you and I, how much of that is really true? Like when you really put that to the test, I know in my business, the top earners are few and far between, but you're out there selling, oh, you can be, do, and have anything that you want. Being is one thing, that's the visualization, but it's the doing, and it's the doing that's the self-image. And that's what's holding you back. So there's a gap, like you were saying, between what you know and what you do, who you are and what you do, right? So there's that
Yeah.
gap. That's the self-image, and that's what people are missing. It's that image that everything gets filtered through. So your beliefs, your perception, your reasoning, your habits. And if you don't go to the root cause of really uncovering the self image and understanding the programs, you can be it all you want. You can have the vision boards, you can have the visualizations, you can like stay stuck in that world of being and it feels nice and it's fluffy. But the reality is you got to do.
Well, yeah, I think if you take them separately without the other part, have never happens. You
Yeah.
know, because the whole concept really, what I think I'm saying and what you're saying is you got to visualize what your future self or a successful self would be. do the things that or activity that you would be doing as a successful self, and then you're going to have it. Is that, but that's what you're saying, that combination, but it's the doing of it, or else it's just more talk about it, right?
It's just fluff. And a lot of people,
Mhm.
they do it have do be. Well, I'm going to have this success and then I'm going to be happy. But like they take
I
that
hear you.
that equation and they get it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the being in conjunction
With
with
the doing.
understanding, yeah, the self-image, that's the driver, and
Yeah.
developing that and then doing the things.
I get it. I get it. You've mentioned that many people already have the skills necessary and the knowledge that they need. But the struggle for them is to put them into practice because of those self-image challenges. Can you explain how self-image holds people back from taking action on what they know and what they are completely aware of going to be helpful to be practical steps to moving themselves forward, but yet they don't. So how do they start closing that gap?
Understanding and recognizing when that version of you is showing up to sabotage. So let's talk about a sales conversation. All right.
Okay.
You have somebody that has all the skills to go through a sales conversation. And it really, at the end of the day, it's just a conversation. So it's not like big, right? We have it all built up in our mind. And they're in a sales conversation, they have the rapport, they've got, the know, like, and trust factor going, they're asking all the right questions, and then some objections start to come through. And it rattles the person a little bit, like, do I have the right answer? Am I, you can see where the sales conversation is starting to go sideways.
Right.
Then the little voice comes in and says, well, you better try harder and you better prove your worth and you better, and then all of a sudden that hijacks the phone or the sales conversation and they start going off in other directions and they think they got to solve the problems right there on the call to prove their worth, to prove that they're, you know, good at what they do. And yes, you should hire me. And then all of a sudden, then the next objection comes in. Oh my gosh, if I don't get the sale, like, how am I going to make my mortgage payment? Well, then you go into, that whole desperate kind.
Desperate spin. So how do you avoid it?
How do you avoid it? So this is, oh, thank you for asking this. This is like building a muscle at the gym. All right. It's
Okay.
building a muscle at the gym. Building the right self-image is building a muscle. So you practice without any pressure, right? In your mind, you're practicing these sales conversations, just like I shadow boxed this conversation before I even got on with you, right? Just
Right.
so I did it with no pressure. And then you know that you are that person. So when that thought comes in to hijack the phone call or hijack me before I came onto this call, you've got the strength, number one, that you recognize it. And then number two, and it's like, no, no, this is who I am. And it's the energy of that goal that you set. Because you know what, Jason, people are putting their past on their present and they're walking into their future and their sales conversations backwards. We've got
So,
to stop and then look to where we're going and know I am that person and then turn it around.
so I can imagine on the sales conversation, listening to you, Leanne, is so you gotta visualize and kind of have in your head when they say no, how will I react? When they throw challenging objections about this or that, what would be my way of approaching that? I guess that's what you're talking about. So it doesn't, you already have played out the different scenarios so you know that you don't react in a certain way or that you will react in a more positive way. Is that what you're suggesting?
Mm-hmm. It, it's
Okay.
it's it's that, and it's that inner knowing whenever you're really grounded in that self-image and you've got the faith and you've got the trust that you've got the answers. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you're there just to serve, right? You're just there to serve. And if you like what took a lot of pressure off of me in the sales conversations, you don't need more training. Like we all have the training. It's all in our back offices. Like we could go to so many seminars, but if the self-image isn't in line with it, it doesn't matter. You need to work there. But where I was going with that is that it's that groundedness in knowing that who you are, you're just like a doctor. That's what I wanted to say. So I put on my lab coat. People are coming in with their problems, and I'm just giving them a diagnosis. Here's
Right.
three options for you. And when you approach it in that manner, because you are the expert. You've got to go in there knowing that. And then it takes all the pressure off of the objections. It's like, I'm just giving you a diagnosis. Here are your
Right.
options and which one
Right.
you want to take. So that I hope that helps out your members too.
Yeah, I think this the self speak in the prep before you do it, and helping your really mindset and giving yourself that those affirmations about where that you belong in this conversation, that you prepared for this conversation, and that preparation is so key. I know, someone taught me years ago about it was called a power move. And, when you're going into a big conversation, whether you're sitting in your car before you go in and meet a prospect or about to walk on stage, that what is that power that elevates your energy? That it just, what is the thing you say to yourself? What is that energy you do? So when you show up, you're that confident. You're not tired. You're not thinking about the last thing. You're not thinking about the thing you just lost. So I think that conversation and what you're talking about really actually resonates quite well. So yeah,
And for the ladies on this call,
yeah,
you know what? For me, it's my lipstick. I put on that lipstick and I'm like, I am her.
I'm ready. Yeah,
I'm ready. Like, it's my power statement. So there's little things that you can do to just
whatever that is for
get
you.
into
Right.
character, right?
I
I
love
had
it.
one client and she lived in a condominium and it had underground parking. So when she was driving up the ramp and the door opened, she was she was that powerful.
Whatever it is that people need to
Whatever.
identify that for themselves. I hear you.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears if we can. And
Okay.
let's talk about your experience both in the fitness and the wellness world. You've been running a gym now, you said, for over 20 years with a holistic approach to wellness. And it's something that goes well beyond just the typical workouts. So, when someone first walks through your doors, how do you determine whether or not they're going to be a good fit for the kind of transformation that you offer? Because it's a pretty different type of transformation. And what qualities do you look for that signal that they're really actually ready to grow? Because sometimes I don't even know if they know that they're ready. They want to grow, but they don't even know how to get there. So, when somebody walks in and they're kind of confused, but so how are you determining that when you meet somebody?
Well, I love that question because again, it brings in our six higher faculties that I talked about, right?
Let's
I
hear
use
about it.
intuition. Intuition is my guide. 100%.
Okay.
100%. And it's never wrong. And I've went against it and boy did I get in trouble a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very intuitively led and it's like a sales conversation. You're just drawing out what it is, where they're at, where they want to go. It's that simple, where they're at, where they want to go, and here are the options in between. So if they want to work with me, because I've got other people here that I can refer them to if they're not the right
Right.
for me. So for me, it's between 40 and 65. That's generally the age group. They're hungry for transformation, or through the or through the conversation it's drawn out. They're like, oh yeah, I want that. Oh yeah, she's recognizing that I'm getting burnt out. Oh yeah, I'm in this workaholism and I don't even know where to start. Oh, through the conversation, whenever it starts to resonate with them, then they get fired up and I'm like, okay, that's somebody who's I can work with. So and decision, they have to be a fast decision maker. Indecision is the killer.
Yeah.
And I because I'm a fast decision maker myself, I don't like to wallow in a lot of researching and I go by my gut. And that's a quality that of a person that I like to work with. Like
Yeah,
I'm in, it's the desire. If you ever read Napoleon Hill's work, like desire is the key, right?
it
Desire.
really is. It really is. So you've worked extensively with women in midlife and beyond. So helping them redefine what this stage of life can look like has to be some of the most rewarding, satisfying work, especially coming from the journey that you've been on. I can only think that it becomes almost like a mission of life for you to because it's you've walked in those shoes, you've seen what it done for yourself and all that. So from your experience, Leanne, what have you learned about how identity and self-worth evolve at this stage of life? Because, you know, midlife and beyond, those habits, those beliefs are really well ingrained in your mind, and that people often say, you know, you don't change, you just become more so. And I don't think you agree with that at all.
No.
So how does that connection, the bigger picture, and how's your work helping folks like this in that midlife and beyond? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah,
I feel, and it's not just women. I mean, it's men too. I mean, like I'm 61, right? I really feel that I'm in my second spring in life. I look at my age, I look at the experiences that I've went through and how I've overcome each and every one of them. I mean, yeah, I've hit rock bottom. There's no, but I've come back. And there are so many people locked in that, it's, and don't hold me on the pickleball. Like, it's just going to be pickleball and drinks for the rest of my, you know what I mean? And whenever they're hitting my stage, because I mean, I have a lot of them here at the gym, but anyway, I digress and just, I'm poking a bit of fun, but that's what I really feel at this stage. It's really getting into your passion and using all of that experience as opposed going like, yeah, in the next 10 years, I hope I make it through the finish line and I hope I don't have a heart attack and I hope I don't get diabetes. And, you're just, you know, quietly tiptoeing to death. That's what I see. And I see that in a lot of business people too. And to be able to really tap into all of that wisdom that you've got to offer and believe and know like this is your second spring in life and how can you serve like it's we're all here to serve and I just I just went through another a self-image upgrade and today is the first day that I'm appearing as her and I'm just
I
like
love it.
so exciting. I'm 61 and I'm still like growing and I'm still like letting crap go that was, holding me back and I did a deep dive and my horse that I just got was part of it. Like I'm 61 and when I'm with him I feel like I'm 16, right? And so
I can imagine that uh your story has to be so incredibly inspiring from where you came from, where you are, and how people could really latch on to the belief because you're not just talking theoretical. You've applied it, you've done it, and it's amazing where you've become. And so I can only imagine that you're a tremendous resource to these folks. I mean, it's
oh
just so great to listen to how what you've beaten, how you've doing this and helping other women and men achieve that. It's very impressive. It's
well
very impressive.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I just want to help as many people get unstuck. You know what? Because at the end of the day, Jason, you know, when we really get unstuck, we are in a better relationship with ourselves, which then spills over into a better relationship with our family, our businesses, our family,
absolutely.
and then it's better in the community. And ultimately, it's the world. Like that's really what I believe in, and it all starts with you.
It really does start with you. It really does. I mean, if your mindset isn't right, your self-image is flattened. There's ways to work on it, build it better,
Yeah.
and start applying it to life. You know, sometimes you got to fake it to make it, and I don't know. You got to really start working on it and really thinking it through.
It, it's a muscle. Like
It's a muscle. You got to
my
work that
first,
muscle.
yeah, my first hour of the day, it's dedicated to her.
I love it. I love it. I got to start practicing that, man. I got to spend my first hour focusing on me. Now, you shared that your gym isn't necessarily a good fit for everyone,
No.
especially if someone's goals aren't in line with your approach. So, how has being clear, how has being confident in what you do and what you offer shaped your business? And what impact has that had on your ability to help clients? That laser focus about what you want, what you do, and on all that. How's that work?
Well, number one, I had to have that self-image to be able to do that and say no and not just grab and grab crumbs from everybody, right? Because
Yeah,
I
because people say that's cash flow. I'm taking this client, I'll tell you, whatnot. So, but you don't do that.
no, I don't do that. In the beginning, I did, and it's an
Sure.
evolution, right? It's an evolution. Um, and then you get very clear on who you're aligned with and who you're meant to serve. Because you're not
And
meant,
that's helped you. That's helped you not just lead a business that you're happy in, but it's also helped you be better for your clients. And if so, how?
because they see that because I'm so laser focused. Now, there are other people here that I can refer to. It's, so I'll get that clear too. It's not just like yes or no. But what it's helped them is that they see it's the atmosphere that I'm creating around me, the environment, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
bad eggs or there, and so when you are very crystal clear, then the right people do come. It's
Yeah.
the law again, if working with the spiritual laws, like it's the law of vibration. So you're going to attract to that frequency or that vibration that you're on. So whenever you're in this vibration and it's a belief, oh my God, I have to have the cash flow. Oh my God. And you're operating from scarcity, you're going to attract the wrong people. And man, it's going to cause you way more headache. Like, I mean, my gut told me years ago I shouldn't have hired this one person. And what ended up, like, she took me to court. And I mean, I won, but it was through visualization. That's a whole other story. But I didn't listen to my gut. And I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
if I don't have this person, then I'm not going to, have classes and no one's going to buy. And like all of that chatter.
That transition, when you finally get to the point where you realize that your intuition has been right and listening to it, it's a very important step in one's growth to trust that gut, because that self-doubt that you've always had, that people have, can get in the way. But when you change that, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
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 Great
So
story. What a great scenario, Leanne. And I can only imagine how happy and energizing what you do and seeing people's growth come from the work you do with them. You should be very impressed with it. I'm very impressed with this conversation. So thank you very much for it. So let me ask finally, I'd like to wrap up with some type of this question, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
okay.
Okay? Nothing to do with it. I Music is a very big part of my life. To me, that's my happy place. When I need to go let go or try and think about something, because when I'm out listening to live music, it's been one of those things where, for whatever reason, my problems go away, and good thoughts happen in my head, and out of nowhere, very complicated problems get solved just because I've allowed myself to just not be in the problem per se. But so it's a very powerful thing for me, music, just like your horse probably is for you. But I always ask everyone, I like to see, tell me about a musical experience or a song or a concert that just elevated you. Could have been your first concert ever, could be the one song you put on that pumps you up. Do you have something in music that just jumps out at you saying, you sing in the shower? Do you, whatever it might be? I'm just curious Do you have something in your life?
Oh, I have different ones for different genres of what
Right?
I'm going through. But if I was to only pick one, it would be Coldplay
Okay.
because I just love that ethereal music that
Hmm.
they have in the background. And I don't, you know what? I don't even know the title of because I'm not really,
Okay. Yeah.
but so that's one that just gets me into that
Makes you feel
ethereal
good. Yeah.
space. And there's an old song that Kiki D did a long time ago. I got the music in me. I got the music in me. You know Kiki D?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
totally.
John and her had a
I
song
love it.
together. And I do a lecture series. I got the genius in me, or, meet the
Hmm.
genius in you. And it's like, I got the genius in me. So that one's a fun pump up song. But if I want to go somewhere, it's usually Coldplay.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Well, that's all the time that we have today. So, Leanne, this has been genuinely a wonderful time to speak with you and a fantastic conversation. So, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for sharing your
you.
story, your insight, the tools for transformation. And to our audience, I would like everyone to remember that sometimes a breakthrough doesn't come from learning something new. It actually comes from doing what you already know and tapping into what Leanne was talking about today and putting some practice behind that and that belief and the way you talk to yourself about doing what you know. I think that could be all the change you might need to start moving in the right path. So, Leanne, thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much for time. And I hope that we have another opportunity to get together and meet with each other. So, with that being said, I would like to wish everybody, please be well, be safe, and as always, be kind. Thank you, everybody.